I'll make light work out of 5 guys. I'll leave you smeared all over 121st Street. You scumbags. Now give me some fucking money. I'm not on here for nothing, okay? I'm not on here for my fucking health. You hear my cough? Obviously. I need some fucking money. I need $320, or I swear to God, I'm gonna fucking kill every one of you sons of bitches. And I'll never be on fucking YouTube again. Let me paint the picture for you. A friend of mine who lives in Rhode Island, okay, and got tired of this cocksucker's bullshit, decided, guess what? I'm gonna go to the fucking courthouse and get this guy's case, okay? He went there. When he went in, the lady he spoke to allowed him to take pictures and make copies of whatever he wanted. Okay.
I will say, just from my own personal opinions, these don't represent opinions of my principals or who I work for, what have you, but significant underlying mental issues. I won't call it illness. I'll call it issues, such as depression, major depressive episodes. Some even talk about that they're on the spectrum of autism. Because a lot of these people are actually geniuses, And I would say that this offender, whoever is involved, is a well-contained offender. In other words, he's well put together. He doesn't disassemble. He was able to execute this by getting in, getting out, and no real identity of him that was immediately obvious. Okay, that's a very, very contained individual. So a very smart individual, calculating individual. So I mean if your theory is right, and your theory could be as right as any other theory. Okay, I'm not saying it is or isn't, but it is a valid consideration. So.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you for enlightening us on all that. I didn't know some of the facts you gave us about when they started and all that. It's interesting because you don't hear about these guys quite often until later on, what they're really all about. Like the term incel is fairly new to me. You know what I mean? Maybe the last 10 years or so.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So good to hear from Don. I've heard him speak before. A very interesting individual. I don't know much about your background, Don, but you have some pretty interesting takes on things.
So they have the capacity of silence. Okay, they do have the capacity to do things in such a premeditated way and keep silent about it. They're not compelled to, if you will, go onto their sites and what have you, and talk about it. Because again, a lot of them have significant underlying mental health issues in the autistic spectrum that is present and what have you. So they do have the capacity to be highly secretive and what have you. As a matter of fact, the National Counterterrorism Center and also the National Threat Center, which is actually owned by the Secret Service for the most part, found when they did the study on them, and there was a long study. I can remember your original hypothetical, which is the Incel movement and what have you. I would not doubt, and I have no information, I'm just saying, I would not doubt that organization is on the suspect table, okay, for consideration.
Yeah.
And that the National National Counterintelligence and the Cyber Center groups are looking at them, very closely. The FBI has a very big cyber, group that works hand in hand with a lot of the other agencies that have similar components for their particular mission set and what have you. Was an individual who was a sexual psychopath with an underlying grave depressive disorder. He broke into the house seeking to kill one individual only, and then found that all the others were still there. There was to, if you will, go onto their sites and what have you, and Yeah, but Chris, let me also say this about the incel. They have the capacity of silence. Okay, they do have the capacity to do things in such a premeditated way and keep silent about it. They're not compelled to, if you will, go onto their sites and what have you, and talk about it. So
from the fucking rooftops digitally, you know what I mean? They want the people online to know what they did. They generally seek attention for it.
They want people. They want to shout out for them with the incel thing. I believe, like, if you're an incel, like, your goal is you want people to know you did it.
Yeah.
You like, and
that is actually a terrorist organization. It's been found to be a terrorist organization by the Secret Service, the U.S. Secret Service Center, and also the National Threat Center, which is actually owned by the Secret Service for the most part. Has found to be a terrorist organization by the Secret Service, the U.S. Secret Service Center, and also the National Threat Center and the Cyber Center groups are looking at them. The National National Counterintelligence and the Cyber Center, very closely. The FBI has a very big cyber, group that works hand in hand with a lot of the other agencies that have similar components for their particular mission set and what have you. I wouldn't doubt that they're playing a very heavy role in this, to include obviously grabbing the computers of everybody that was in the house and trying to walk this back that way.
I mean,
these Generac generators, which I didn't even know this, they are not intended for long-term sustained use in cold temperatures that are below 20 degrees. Because what happens is the formaldehyde will crystallize in the line, and then it shuts it down. So then I had to go out there with my battery pack and my hair dryer and blow hot air through the line to get rid of the crystals so that the generator would work. It was
wow.
Christmas was
interesting.
Interesting. In the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Was that Virginia?
Yeah.
Virginia?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Blue Ridge in the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Was that Virginia?
Yeah.
Virginia?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good.
You're
Well,
Bull
glad
Run
you got your
Mountain.
power.
Ask Frankie. Ask Frankie where it is.
He's been there.
I have.
Frankie,
Yeah.
forget about it. You know.
Yeah. I heard the FBI had sent multiple agents to this case. Like, that's a very odd thing.
Because there's a major lab.
Wouldn't that mean they're investigating a homicide in West Virginia and they're tying it to this?
No, because there's a major laboratory in West Virginia that the FBI uses that is the behavioralists and also their toxicology folks. The main FBI facility is in Quantico, which is right over south of, there and what have you. And then there's a major facility in West Virginia that FBI uses for behavioral analysis and what have you. So if they came,
that's not weird here. Interesting.
Well, there's almost 60 agents that have been pulled from around the country, probably from multiplicity of different disciplines. Yeah.
I spoke to someone in the FBI and he said it doesn't seem weird. Yeah, they don't owe us anything. And that's, Don, I'm sure you would agree. Like, I talked to an FBI and he told me, like, I don't work for I talked to an FBI and he
typically, when the FBI are involved, okay, in a homicide case, and remember, they're only in the support role, right, component that has been public, so they're in a support role. There's a group within the FBI in the forensics division that specializes in building pattern of life. They will have teams. That's why there's so many agents. They will have teams working each victim, building a pattern of life that is going to be cradle to grave, starting in 5-year blocks and what have you. So, and they're going to build those patterns of life primarily from first cyber and then deleted cyber and then outside cyber. In other words, first their computers, then the deleted stuff from their computers, then everything else on the that others have been communicating with them about and what have you. Hypothetical, which is the incel movement and what have you.
Misinformation, hoping that this kid like makes a mistake so they can get some hard evidence instead of just the circumstantial stuff that they have right now.
They're giving him rope.
You know? Yeah, they're gonna let him hang himself.
But again, I caution, the police oftentimes can, do a lot of misinformation, disconfiguration, and false flagging, and so on and so forth. And the fact that, I was saying before we all got together here, earlier in the show, there's an old saying that, I learned a long time ago when I was going through my first courses in Intel school, and that is, silence speaks louder than the volume.
Right.
And the fact that the police have been so silent about what they do have as evidence tells me a lot. Silence speaks louder than the volume.
Right.
And the fact that the police have been so silent about what they do have as evidence tells me a lot. And what it tells me in this case is that that the fact that they release so little other than exclusionary information that's odd to me. That is odd. There's an old saying that, I learned a long time ago when I was going through my first courses in Intel school, and that is, silence speaks louder than the volume.
Right.
Hit that damn like button. I'm going to ask you for something else later on, too. See if you guys listen up. I'm not going to ask you right now because we're only 21 minutes in. I don't want to be a jerk. But you know what the right thing to do is. What's next? You're going to give SoFlo a wrench? That might happen. If it hasn't happened already. When I watch Pizza's show, and I'm finished with it, they'll play a commercial. Yeah, I hope Pizza rips him apart too. Candela gets whatever the fuck he deserves. 90 people in here. Hit the like button. Thank you for being here. And if you're so inclined to do so and feeling generous, please donate to this show and support the channel. It's towards the end of the month now, and I must survive the ghetto. There's only 4 days left in the month. And, it'd be nice to survive the ghetto. We all got to eat. I smoke it till it's done, okay? Even if it burns my fingers and my lips, young man. You didn't say thank you for your service before you even asked me that question, young man. Filled with honor and respect, young man. Angel said she really liked you out of everyone. When did she say that? When the fuck did she say that? I never heard it. If she did say that, you know why she said it? Because I was the most respectful person on here. I was the most respectful person on here, right? Right? Try to fucking, get it how I live it, man. Right? Try to fucking, get it how I live it, man. Mind my business. Never good enough. Beautiful head of hair. Let me upload another picture since you said that.
Yeah, I did my research on you, bro. When I was looking up your information on all of Tony Pizza's donors and subs and shit. Yeah, so. Yeah, I know you are. Bill Jordan doesn't realize that I have found him. I know it's a very common name, and it was a motherfucker to find him, but I found Bill Jordan. I know it was a motherfucker to find him, but I found Bill Jordan. I know exactly who he is. He should probably watch his fucking mouth.
It's like anything really, broadening this out for a moment. It's like anything in life, okay? Lots of people can and are required to re-engineer themselves into something else following a catastrophe that's occurred. And suddenly they're forced because of loss of job, loss of career, loss of going to jail, psychological issues, whatever. They have to come out and re-engineer themselves into something else because their past life, their past opportunities no longer exist. It's gone and never going to come back. So now they have to re-engineer themselves into something else. Again, not to harp on Chris's circumstance as an example, but basically he's a guy that worked in a factory, okay? He couldn't do it anymore because physically he couldn't do it anymore. All right. So this YouTube came along, and that was how he re-engineered himself in that way. There's lots of different ways you can do it to re-engineer yourself. There are these life coaches that specialize, in doing that.
Let me just